Addie Soldiers. I'm not sure how I feel about my hair today because I'm feeling nostalgic because this is very similar to how I did my hair back in high school, except this is cute. But I also know that if my grandmother were here, she would definitely call me Fräulein, and I'm not sure how I feel about that either. So to counteract the 16th century German maiden look that I have going on here today, I think I'm gonna do some more edgier makeup with like a purple lip and maybe some like bronze eyes. That's the picture that's going on in my head right now. So we're gonna do that, and while I do that, I thought that I would reminisce about some of my best slash funniest slash awkwardest model moments and model stories that I have collected over the years. Definitely not out of the model game, but it's definitely on a back burner now just because of school and work and, you know, moving away from me being 16 and fresh-faced. I mean, I still look barely legal today, which everyone is assuring me is good, that eventually when I'm 30 I'll look young, but at the moment it makes it a little bit difficult to, you know, be an adult and have the face of a 16-year-old. I plan to do more modeling related videos on this channel again, starting with this one, or maybe the last Get Ready With Me. Maybe we'll just combine all these things, put makeup and modeling and all together and just have a fun old time with a bunch of powder. It really did not sound good, because models have a reputation for liking powdery things. We're just, you know what, nope, cut, we're done. So I've already moisturized with my favorite Kiehl's moisturizer that I did not bring with me. Alright, it's starting off prepared. So next we're going to prime, and that's with my NYX Hydra Touch Primer. Realized I could have set myself up there much better. Ah yes, so prepared. And I just realized I didn't put my bangs up. Alright, also please ignore this. I don't know where it came from or what it's doing, but I've named it Frederick, and it's on its way out soon, I think. So that's just like, that's my my life hack, is just put bangs over your forehead and then no one will ever know that you have cystic acne. We're gonna start out with my Makeup Forever HD foundation in the color 501. And the story we're gonna start out with also relates because I had to also have something very weird on my face. I was working with this lovely photographer that wanted to do a like water shoot or like wet look shoot. So, you know, we got together and did makeup and hair, and I was gonna be standing in a bucket while they had a hose over me to, you know, have the wet look. See, but the thing with water is that it does this thing called evaporate. So you can only have that like drenched wet look for a couple minutes at a time before it starts to look stale, or like you have like weird hair sticking out because like some of them are drying. I know they do this in the acting business as well, so I know you've probably heard like them spraying glycerin on someone to like make them look wet. Well, I don't do well with glycerin, so what they did is they covered my entire face and chest in lube. Good old KY jelly from the Shoppers Drug Mart down the street. Oh yes, it was delightful. And the pictures turned out amazing, and I'll insert a picture here of what that shoot looked like, so it came out really great. I just felt really, really disgusting for a couple of hours. Alright, on to concealer, which is my Tarte Amazonian Clay in Fair, as always. Second story is actually from 15 or 16, and I was shooting for a wedding planner, like a wedding planning business. So we went out to this absolutely beautiful estate. If you know, if you're from Vancouver, Ruinas. We went there and we were shooting with bridal looks and, you know, big swept up hair and headpieces and everything. But she also wanted to shoot with these, I guess, like old-fashioned lingerie, kind of. They were like really sheer dresses in pink and blue. And the other girl that I was working with, we were going to like run through the forest next to the inn to like look all ethereal and fairy-like, which was fun, except for the fact that it was like March in BC in the mountains, and it started raining sideways partially way through that shooting. And the other model and I's combined weight would probably be like the body fat of one normal person. And it was freezing cold and we're wearing lingerie slips. Pictures looked amazing. Actually, if I can find one, I'll insert a picture here. And yes, I was wearing a bunny hat. It was pretty great. But that day was not fun because it took about an hour to regain feeling in my legs. Actually, while I'm thinking about that, there was another time, I think last year or 2 years ago, that I also could not feel my legs for very long, and that was when I was shooting in the Fraser River, which do not recommend, by the way. It was for one of my very lovely designer friends named Sam, and her designs were these gorgeous ball gowns, and she wanted to shoot in the water so you could see the gown kind of spread out. And she's like, oh, can you wade out into the water? And I love cold water. Love it. I'm the girl with ice water for veins. I was like, hell yes, I will. And, ooh, not fun. We're gonna bake and set my face with some powder. And continue with the story. So I waited out a little bit, and right away my toes went numb. I was like, you know what? This is fine. I like cold water. I don't mind my extremities numbing every once in a while. And I stayed in the water for probably about 20 minutes, and by the end of it, from my knee down, was completely purple. The pictures looked incredible though. Insert another picture here. Shameless self-promotion, and also promotion of her dresses because she's great and her dresses are beautiful. While we wait for all that to set, let's do my eyebrows. I'm gonna use the NYX Professional Precision Brow Pencil in the brown color. Alright, let's go to a runway mishap because those are always fun. The big problem with fashion shows and runway in general is that they'll often bring shoes, but you kind of have to make do with what you get. So I am no stranger to having to stuff a toe of a shoe now and then, and I have to do this for this particular show, and it was not a good idea. I was wearing sandals I tried to stuff the toe to, and spoiler alert, didn't work. So I have a shoe size 7.5, and I think these shoes were like a 9.5. So there was no way that I could pretend to make them fit, and they just came off halfway down the runway. I stepped and it just went pew, like it just flew a little bit, and I was like, awesome, middle of the runway, great, all right, let's make this work. Yeah, I just kind of picked them up and was like, steeled myself and just kept going. And of course everybody clapped and cheered or whatever, just because that's people, often models are so scared about losing a shoe and like, what's gonna happen, everyone's gonna look at me, like everyone knows that your job is difficult, like just keep going, all right, just shoulders back, head up, keep going, like no one's gonna laugh at you. All right, brows are done, we're wiping off the bake, and I am now cadaver pale and ready to go. Let's work on some contour. We're gonna take the Urban Decay Single Shadow in Naked and use that to carve some cheekbones out. So the next thing is actually a super old story from when I first started modeling. Oh, hello there, cheekbone, nice of you to join us. I was 16, it was my first fashion week ever. For some reason, and this might be TMI, but fashion week always falls when I'm on my period, always, every single time. It's so annoying, so you're bloated and you're bleeding and you're grumpy and then you have to walk in heels all day. This was the very first fashion week I was ever walking in, so I didn't know that yet, and I got my period halfway through. And it was that particular day that I was in a show where they wanted me to wear a sheer black jumpsuit that had slits from the ankle all the way up to the hip. Pretty sure this is what it looked like. I don't know if you can see the thigh slits very well, but there was a lot of thigh. Now, it's definitely okay to say no to, you know, outfits that make you uncomfortable, but I love the outfit so much and I didn't want to not walk in it, so it's very awkward, and I was really, really hoping that I was not just bleeding through this designer outfit, and I wasn't, thank God. All right, that is, I think, enough contour, so what am I gonna do next? Let's do my eyes. Quickly prime with my Urban Decay. I'm gonna take a MAC shadow, and this is in All That Glitters. It's like a bronzy gold color. And in my usual fashion, I'm gonna take a brush and smush that all over my eye. So this next story is when I was in South Africa, and so I was 19, and one of the auditions was for it was like not a tourism, but it had something to do with like showing off like a lake or like something like that. And so they wanted a bunch of guys and girls to go, and it was gonna be like a beach party with like all your friends, like that kind of thing. But what they did is they had male models and female models come in pairs, and then just, I don't know, like act like they were friends, like dance around, like. And the male model that I was paired with was also a redhead like me, so I was like, oh, this is so cool. He and I were like, all right, well, we're just gonna dance. And so we just started kind of like dancing around each other. Like, we've never met before up until this moment, so we were super, super awkward. At one point, he's like, oh, like you should like jump on my back, like piggyback. I was like, okay. So I did, but I jumped on him as he was spinning around, so he dropped me. So like I hit the ground, he was like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? I'm so sorry. And I was just like laughing my head off, and I was like, no, it's fine, like help me up, like keep dancing, like we're being recorded right now, like just keep going. So I mean, I think I did a great job of pulling that situation together, but I guess it was just too awkward and they did not book us. Okay, now that I have that, I'm gonna take my Urban Decay Naked Basics palette and go into, I think, Faint, which is like the darker one, and I'm just gonna darken the lower lash line. That's what that's called. Now that I think about it, I actually have a lot of runway stories. Like one that I did write down that I kind of forgot about actually was a couple of years ago. And I was opening for a designer in Fashion Week, and it was a really, really awesome outfit. It's like kind of a famous outfit for me, and it was a sheer shirt. It had hearts over the boobs and like this black skirt. And I was walking the opening gala for that designer, which is kind of when, like the beginning of Fashion Week, when each designer has one look showcased on the runway, and so I was that particular designer's. And a bunch of people had like seen me backstage. I'm like, oh my gosh, you look so cool. And I had quite a few model friends that night that were just like in the audience. As soon as I came out onto the runway, I walked out, and all of a sudden he goes, yeah, Rachel, go Rachel, from like all of these like male models, and I almost started laughing. Like it was so hard to keep my cool. But one of my male model friends who had seen me earlier like got a bunch of them to go sit in the audience and then just cheer for me, and it was really funny because like everyone that was like around them was like, oh, what, like who's that? So it was really fun to see like, oh yeah, that's right, just like it's me walking down the runway, I'm famous, y'all. I'm now going to highlight with my e.l.f. highlight. This is a baked highlight. I have no idea what color it is, but it's kind of gold-ish to go with this like orangey bronzish eye. I'm gonna pack that on. Like I want it blinding. I want it so that when I sit out in the sun, people think the beacons of Gondor have been lit. Like that is the amount of highlight that I'm going for at this moment. And do a little nose highlight because I've gotten really into nose highlights. Not really sure why. Woo! Don't I just look adorable? Oh my goodness, it's like really strong. Okay, hold on. Where's that? Tone that down a little. Then I'm going to use the same highlight with a big brush to do my cheekbones. And my last story is from just a couple months ago, and that was it's another runway story, and that was when I was doing a runway show for a bridal brand that I have worked very closely with, who are amazing, Catherine Bass Bridal, just saying. Really cool venue, it was at the Fairmont, and we were going to go down this runway, but it was a really short runway, so they're like, oh, you know, turn and like show off stuff and kind of like take your time. I was like, all right, cool. So it was a really fun audience, I'd say. Like people were clapping and people were kind of, you know, like just like, you know, chatting with their neighbors and everything. So like, no, everyone wasn't just like, yes, bridal. I'm gonna put on some doll eye mascara and attempt to tell the story while I do this. And we all had multiple looks. So on my last trip down the runway, they were playing this kind of fun song. I don't remember what it was, but it was upbeat and it was kind of like, you know, it was kind of dancey. So what I did is that halfway down the runway when they wanted us to pose, I just kind of stood there and I just went just like this for like a couple of beats, and everyone in the audience started laughing and cheering and like clapping and everything. So I was like, all right, cool, this is good. I have a good audience. And then when I was leaving the venue later, I mean, I guess I was somewhat recognizable because, you know, red hair and had the whole face on. I was leaving and one person like came by me and touched my arm. She's like, oh, you were my favorite. And then kind of kept walking. I was like, okay, now I have to do this hair more often because it's like way more fun to flip. Last up in this look is lips, and I am going to be using my Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick, which I have used all the time. It's in so many videos because I love this formula and this color is beautiful. And this happens to be in the color Granny Panty. And everyone knows that I need a musical interlude, so I'm gonna start that right now. Oh, right, hold on. Gonna tuck Frederick away for a little while. Okay, I'm liking this a lot. This is gonna be my new summer grunge makeup, I think. This is good. Put the clip down. So there were some of my model stories. I have way more, but those are just kind of like some funny awkward moments because they happen to everyone. Please leave down below if you yourself are a model or an actor or anything like that that's had awkward stories and like awkward experiences, because I mean, in the moment, you're like, oh my god, but then later, you're like, that was the dumbest thing ever, and it's freaking hilarious. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!